I'm like, why am I Mr. Scary? Because you're so tall. Peruvians aren't very tall. Most of the men are about this tall. They see me, they're like, and we were warned, you know, like, don't ride in certain taxis, don't go in certain areas of town. They look at me and they're just like, they run. Little children cry, you know, the normal stuff. But, so it was difficult at times finding, they don't carry my size of shoes there, my size of clothes. So we loaded up this year in California when we came back. But, so some things have been difficult, but there's some things of familiarity. McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut. Papa John's and Domino's Pizza is wonderful down there. I don't like eating it here, but down there it's awesome, it's great. I don't know what it is. So we get Papa John's a lot, huh, Connor? Maybe, yeah, every night. Can we have Papa John's? And so it was nice having some of those familiarities, things that reminded us of home. But there was a lot of issues at the school. We had a lot of problems. You'll like this one, Robin. Whenever anything happened, the principal would come to me and I'd say, I need someone with a criminal mind frame. So she would come and talk to me. What would they be thinking if they did this? And I'm like, why are you coming to me? She's just like, who else am I going to come to? So I got involved in a lot of counseling with students, with parents. Having an interpreter helped. This year we didn't have a superintendent, so the principal was doing it, so she laid a lot of the, especially the counseling of the older boys to me, which I enjoyed thoroughly. I got to know some of the older kids. We only went up through 8th grade this last year, but this year we'll go to 9th. Every year we'll be adding a grade. So that means we need even more teachers, and right now we're behind, and so I'll be doing, as of this time, and this could change, I'll be doing grammar, spelling, reading, Bible, and science for 6th grade. I get to do 1st grade PE. Yes. Get to play with these little kids. I'm so looking forward to that. Most likely 9th grade Bible and possibly even 7th grade grammar. So I get those kids again. But it's all right. I've gotten used to them and they've gotten used to me.
Comments from the peanut gallery back here.
Yeah, you gotta love it. But a couple of the highlights from this year. I've gotten the opportunity to be in an outreach ministry with one of the husbands of one of the teachers at the church school compound. And we have a soccer field, which is not much longer than the sanctuary here, and maybe not even as wide. But most places don't have a synthetic turf soccer field of this size. Most of them are used to playing on streets, dirt fields. So we've opened this up on Thursday nights to the young men of the area, 20-year-olds. They just have to listen to a devotion. So we'll start playing like at 7 o'clock at night and go to about 10:30. So we can shut down before it's, the apartments are right all around there, so we're not too loud for them. And it's just been a great ministry. The first night I went over to join, they looked at me and like, who's this old guy? And God is so good. Stronghold in day of trouble. I'm out, why am I even trying to do this? I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to fall down, break my leg, and go home and tell my wife I got hurt. Yes, you're old. Viejo, which I was reminded of quite a bit this last year. So I'm out there playing with these young guys, and they didn't really want me to play. Ball gets passed to me, and I already hear a couple of them complaining. Why'd they give it to him? Because they were calling me alto professor, which is tall teacher. Somehow I got my foot on the ball, tripped myself as I'm stumbling. The guy in front of me was trying to figure out what I was doing. I got past him. And before I fell down, I was able to get my other foot on it, and I scored a goal. And yeah. And so I just kind of get up and, the athlete that I used to be, Pretended like I do this all the time. It's nothing new. Inside, I'm like, yes! I get back, they come over, they sat high-fiving. The next week, they were arguing over having me on their team. No, we want them. No, we want them. No, we want them. So that was, I've gotten in good with them. And now a lot of times around town, I will see these young men around town and they'll come up and talk to me. They'll practice their English on me. And we'll say, hi, are you coming this week? We've missed you if I missed a week or something. And so we've had an opportunity to share with these. I've known of, I wasn't there one night, but one of the guys prayed to receive Christ through this ministry this last year, so that's been an awesome opportunity. Another time, we had my biggest highlight of the year, we had a retreat for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And the very first morning, I was looking forward to the afternoon because they had this system set up. Again, it's bigger than the sanctuary here and in a big U shape. These big black mats for these water Olympics. They put soap on it, water. It's just like a giant, the biggest slip and slide you've ever seen. I was looking forward to this. But that morning, the steps were slippery. And my heel caught the one step. I went down. Fell hard. Bounced on another step. Dislocated this finger, it was pointed that way, which, Donnie, you can understand this. Playing basketball, it happens a lot. This finger, I've probably done that close to 25 times, so I just popped it back in, and they're like, freaked out some of the kids. Cracked and bruised ribs. Is this kidney or liver, Becky?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those things. Bruised that pretty good. Couldn't move, couldn't walk. Connor's favorite part, I get hurt. And now I'm sitting there going, God, what? Now I can't hang out with the kids. I can't interact with them in a fun way, not as a teacher, but as a friend. So I'm arguing with God again, and you guys have heard me say, anyone have ever won an argument with God? If you do, please let me know, because I never have, and I do it all the time. Complaining, God, why are you letting this happen? And through this in the afternoon, before the Water Olympics, one of my students, David, comes in and says, Mr. Madison, how are you? I'm like, not very good, David. I'm hurting. So he sat and we'll all sit and talk with you. Okay. He had alternative motives in wanting to talk. And I could see something was on his mind. I said, David, what's up? He said, Mr. Madison, you've been talking about, and this was in October, so he says, in Bible class, you've been talking about having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Because of my 13 students, I had 5 that were Catholic, 5 that were Christian, 2 that flat out tell me I will never believe in God, and a Mormon. So I had a nice selection. And he's just like, and he was one of the ones who said, I'm probably Catholic because we go to Mass twice a year. 3 times maybe, if they had Mother's Day. And he's like, I don't think I have that. So we talked through the steps, we talked through the process, and what it would mean to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And after about 45 minutes, he said, I want to have that relationship. So I had the honor and the privilege to be able to pray with him to receive Christ. I get it, God. So I told David, I said, David, you know what? If I could fall down like this every day and hurt myself, but have the opportunity to pray with someone to receive Christ, I would do it. He looked at me and he said, now I know for sure, Mr. Madison, you are crazy. Neither has he. But seriously, that opportunity, I would do that every day if I could speak and talk with someone and have them receive Christ. Because that's what he calls us to do. Not get hurt, but talk and share Christ with people. And so that was my highlight. This year, though, through the ministry of the school, we had 5 students receive Christ. But greater yet, we had 9 parents, which was huge. Because in the last few years, they've only had maybe 1 or no parents receive Christ. but we had 9 this year. And not knowing the customs and the traditions there, in Peru, the poor are poor and the rich are rich, and there's not much in between. We're dealing with the rich kids. I had one of my students, they had 4 live-in servants and 3 day servants, and that's not out of the ordinary. The parents work like crazy to supply for their children, but they're not there for their children. So one of the ministries we were looking forward to, and there's no parenting skills. Children just do whatever they want. If one of the helpers doesn't give them ice cream at the time they want it, they can complain to their parents, and most likely the parents will fire them because there are so many people looking to take these jobs. Jobs are hard to get. And they're only making, some of the construction guys carrying 5-gallon buckets of cement all day long, they might get $10 to $15 US and lunch. And they think they're rich. Most of them live in stone or wood buildings outside of the view of the rich people. No running water, no electricity. That's the majority of Lima, Peru. But we're working with the kids and their parents. These are ones that have means, they have resources, they're going to have opportunities to share, to extend the gospel, to change their community. And that's what we're working on this upcoming year. Me and some of the other teachers, we're going to work on a ministry for the parents of, hopefully we're going to try and do it every other week, have opportunity, and different one of us speaking, on teaching them parenting skills. Because again, most of these kids we're dealing with are raised by great-grandparents or grandparents or servants. Parents don't want to discipline them when they get home. I've had some parents tell me the only discipline their children get is at school, so keep it up. I'm like, well, no, you do it at home. Oh, no, I just don't have the time. We need to make the time for these things. So we're looking forward towards that. And the pastors also talked to me about possibly, because we're fairly close to the U.S. Embassy where there are a lot of American families living, that they used to have it, but he wants to work out some more details that maybe on Sunday nights I'm going to start preaching on Sunday nights. Does that sound familiar? To do an English service on Sunday nights. Because on Sunday morning right now the services are in Spanish, but we have the mic headphones and stuff so they will interpret into English for us. But to have an English service, and I may be involved in leading that. So we're really looking forward towards that. And just a lot of the contact we have with the parents of my students, of others, of just impact that we've been able to have with some of these parents, because they'll just sit and want to talk and like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I don't know, you just do it. It's kind of hard to explain when you grow up with it, but when you've never seen it, you don't know what to do. So I asked for prayer in that. One last story, and then I'll tell more downstairs and during lunch and stuff. This is more of a fun one. I'm standing in our little grocery store that's about a half mile from our house, no, about a quarter mile from our house. Oh, but our house is like a quarter mile from the school. So we just walk everywhere. We don't want to drive. Taxis are insane there. It's perfectly fine to turn from the left turn lane across 4 lanes of traffic and make a right-hand turn on a red light as long as you honk your horn. It's perfectly fine. But I'm at our grocery store near one, and I'm standing in line. You ever have that feeling when God's tapping you on the shoulder? Keep your eyes open, be alert. I just had that feeling, and I look at the entrance, and there was 2 Mormon missionaries standing at the entrance, and they were really being rude to people walking in and out, wanting to talk to them and stuff. And I could tell people were getting irate. The guard is kind of looking at them, not knowing what to do. And I had kind of befriended the guard. He would practice his English on me. I'd practice my Spanish on him. And we just had a lot of fun. And I realized God wanted me to talk to these guys. So I'm walking towards that exit, and they were from England, so they had that nice accent. And they asked me if I knew English, and I said yes. They said, "Can we talk to you?" And I said, "Oh, yes, please, but can I ask the questions first?" "Oh, yeah." So we started having a very nice conversation so I asked him, I go, why would you want to serve a man and not God? Oh, we serve God. I go, no, Joseph Smith is not a God. So we got into this whole theological conversation right in the sidewalk in the entries to the grocery store. And they're trying to defend Joseph Smith, and I'm defending Jesus Christ. And behind me in Spanish, I hear a Catholic and an English arguing over following Jesus or following Mary. And then I hear another person interpreting for others about what we're saying in English into Spanish. So we had a nice group of people around, and the Mormons were backing away from me, and I kept walking towards them. It was so much fun. The guard comes up, puts his hand on my shoulder, and asks me, is everything okay here? And I said, oh, it's perfectly fine. He said, okay. So he just stood there, hand on his gun. The Mormons are looking at me, and they're walking farther down the sidewalk, and I'm following them. People are still following, and they're having a conversation behind us about God, Mary, Jesus, whatever, and then one lady who was interpreting, she was a Christian, she told me later, and she's witnessing to these Catholics. And so it was just a good old-fashioned street revival. The Mormons finally just turned and ran. So when I started asking them about financial questions of the Mormon church, they finally ran. And the guard came up to me and told me thank you. The manager came up and told me thank you because they'd been there bothering people all day. And they haven't returned. So every so often they would say, oh, thank you, getting rid of those guys in the suits. Thank you. And so that was just a lot of fun. And I'm walking home and I'm just like, yay. And the funnest part was just the people behind me listening, and they were having a conversation right on the street corner. Peru is hurting. Peru is in need of God. About 90% of the people would say, oh yeah, I'm Christian. I go to Mass every so often. Most of it's Catholic. The Mormons are trying to make inroad there. Christians are trying to make roads there, but it is just wide open. And the opportunities are endless, and we're so excited that we're there and being able to help. And we're hoping this next year. I haven't had the chance to even practice Spanish because I'm trying to have my kids speak English. They have to speak English in my classrooms. So hopefully this year I'll get better. Connor interprets half the time for me. We'll go out and taxi drivers will ask something. I'm like, I have no idea, so he'll tell me. I'm getting better, though. I'm getting better. But just our main prayer requests, again, are just still the transition of getting used to being there, language, and just even more opportunities to share God. And we thank you for all the prayers and all the support. And just know His will is being worked down there, and lives are being changed. So thank you very much.